Yeah. Week one's in the bag. Not much to really say from it, I guess. We watched the game. You know, we watched the team go out there fresh off with the league neighbors and everything, and all that good stuff, man. I don't think it's enough time to really go through all that like that in this video. Um, you know, it's first game of the season. Um, just not looking good already. Um, Daniel was just not great today, off target. Um, this is kind of new for him. Well, not new for his play, but just something that's new for him is being so off target. He might not throw with type of anticipation you want him to throw with sometimes, but when a guy sits down in his route, normally Daniel was pretty solid there at least, and today was just not his game. He didn't have that today. He didn't have his fastball day on that, and it just from there just kind of sprouted out into a really bad performance overall for the offense again. Um, Defense showed up early enough to make a play and get us into the red zone early, and we came away with 3 points from that. And good defense by the Vikings. They're a different team from last season when we played them, or the playoff season we played them in 2022. But it was a good game for um, relative whatever for the Minnesota Vikings, and not as bad as a game as it could have been for the Giants. It's just that the offense again has been a real sticking point for us, and today it just wasn't going. We're gonna try to just take this one as it is, man, and go into the next week and not harp on it too much. Definitely some things to say. Like I say, speaking around with the play from Daniel today. Um, I want to have a conversation about off-season stuff. It's kind of already done with, man. You're not gonna catch that too much in this season from me like that. We might go through it again, but I gave my preseason predictions on the record, which was 7-10. We're behind that right now because I had us beating Minnesota. So even in my pessimism, sometimes I can falter to the Giants' way and let my fandom kind of consume my common sense and logic and make me do things and say things that probably shouldn't do, you know, with regarding this team and shit, basically. Yeah, man. Um, where you know it is, man. Guy blows the gets. Welcome and welcome back. Blah blah. For those new to arrive to this whole situation here, welcome here finally. Uh, the consensus around Daniel's play, how it's going to be taken along the week, man, is going to be what it is. But I don't suspect that you'll be hearing much about the faulting things around him because things like the offensive line today played fairly well, in my opinion. I'm sure we'll get all the analysis from that from whatever chosen sources that people like to go to to consume that stuff and make it their little emphasis on why they think something went ways in the game. But for me, without all need for all that right now, I think the offensive line played respectably. Daniel had, some good time back there. Again, with the offense, it just wasn't Daniel's good game. Not a good game that he might have needed, but like, just a good foundational game for him. This wasn't it. This felt again more like preseason work throughs that probably should have been taken care of in the preseason. But we don't play Daniel in the preseason like we got some sense. And we just come to surprises when it's week one. And another surprise here is Daniel won't hit a fucking wide receiver, even when they just sitting down on their route now. But he's overthrowing Wandell, man. Wandell would have had to been twice as tall as he was to have made that catch that he had thrown to him over there. We had some early drops though too, so it's not just discount those. Like Theo Johnson had an early job. Elite Neighbors had a drop, maybe partial way through the game on a little swing, jet sweep kind of swing from the the X over to the Y side, and it just. But the whole offense today was just again the short pass thing. We only had like one or two passes that went 20 yards downfield. It's just not great, man. And some of that is to do with, of course, the play calling as we get through this quickly. But right now, we're just going to assess how they operate within the offense while it's Daniel out there, at least, because they act like Daniel can't throw the ball or anything like that down the field. We talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. So I have to believe that they're actually calling these plays right now, and that just the read that's going on the field as far as the players doesn't make those plays happen in action. Um, there's plenty of routes that are at least, and we're not talking just fly routes and stuff like that and go routes. Aiming for 40-yard, 50-yard bombs. No, we're talking about even the intermediate stuff right now is what's missing from the offense on this team. Um, it's not even good there, and it's all just a short pass, quick route scheme, West Coast stuff that I've never been a fan of myself. But for a quarterback, something like Eli in the later years, it really helped uh, you know, keep him afloat and rejuvenate some of his game when he started losing some of his deep balling throw ability just from being able to navigate the pocket really because his arm was, he lost some on his arm too, but it's always been enough to get it down there. But when he's started to just come back in his retirement age, man, we changed some stuff up, and our offensive scheme hasn't really moved on from that. And even Daniel came into that somewhat. Of course, that's what we were running with Eli, so Daniel came into that short passing scheme. But as far as the deep passing today, man, just wasn't happening. A couple of good catches by Malik Neighbors, who had a decent showing for the attempts that were made, even though Dane was only like 50%. So he had like 40 attempts passing. So it was like a 21, 22 of 43, 44, who knows. But something like that. And, he had some catches. Darius Slayton had a catch or two. Jalen Hyatt had a drop, but I think he might have had a catch to make up for it. But Daniel was off all day, so when I'm looking at that drop, I like Hyatt. The route itself was a relative simple route, it was just going upfield, but the throw was quick out, and I don't know if Hyatt was ready for it to be on him like it was, and it was a little fast and upfield, so he would have been having to be eyes on that and hands out, ready to snatch that. Um, Kind of early to make that catch, and it just wasn't with that. But yeah, 16 games to go is what it's going to be throughout this season as we get through this and count this down. If you know me, been in one or two videos or whatever you might have seen from this last season or the Hard Knocks. All right, it's not a Kool-Aid channel. It's as blue as it gets. And I don't need to start gaining any more legitimacy in the places that I've been for. I'm on my little YouTube thing every once in a while, but I don't feel like I need to do that anymore because I should have that respect enough of when I've said some of these things and sit and wait and they come to fruition in the ways that they do. And I ain't saying I'm perfect. Never said I was perfect, but I ain't off like that either. So whatever, man. Um, yeah, I'm sure people can go to wherever they want to go to get some of the Giants content and consume what they want, man. And people talk like they broke, but this is real as it gets over here too. So I don't ain't no fucking disrespect need to come this way. And if it do, make sure you make that shit direct and let a nigga know, because I ain't playing that, man. Like this season is what it is, and I cut my teeth last season on looking at this team and talking about things. So I feel comfortable enough about talking about this team like I do now, and not having to worry about it coming back on me like I was way off or some shit. Uh, but I only do these when I feel like it. It's not that serious for me. Like it or hate it, whatever. Like for real. Yeah, man. All right, yo. Next game, week two, let's go to get to Washington. They didn't win today. They looked okay-ish. They looked decent. They scored some points. They scored touchdowns. We didn't. We need to score touchdowns. We already started on that touchdown stuff that we started with the Cowboys. Said we didn't get 40-0. So maybe this next game, whatever, we're gonna score ball out some shit. All right, man. Peace.